name. Make you while the sunshine and slave not the rain. Brother man, they tell them I got pay for we pay and no blood alone. Greatness that's straight now my vein. Me see some of them a crash and should not stay. No, this is my bread, this is my food. We not play in a game. Cracks cover the ground, although me stay up on the plane. Man militant, never lose my way in the fame. And if me catch me enemies, I straight them get the flame. My mother can't say the G, make she shame. Man build for this in the street on my chain. Stacking up the bread and get a eat when the key. Me a little boy, greatness and running on me blood. Greatness and running on me blood.
That's right. He says from since he's small, greatness runs in his blood or her blood. You have to know that for sure. 27 minutes onto the hour of 7 o'clock right here. It is Good Morning Grenada on GBN TV, K105.5 FM, Hot 98 FM, and we're also live on social media. Good morning to those of you also on the Facebook and YouTube pages. So many ways to get in touch with us right here, and also gbn.gd if you want to check out the website. And that's just ways you can take us with you anywhere you go throughout this lovely Wednesday morning. It is the 28th of September. Yeah, man. 3 more days in September, including this one. All right. And we are swiftly moving on with 2022. Can you believe we've made it so far already? I hope that the year is productive for you, you know, and nothing wrong with going back and, you know, tacking back on those New Year's resolutions, you know. If you want to get them done, be sure and get back on schedule so you can accomplish something that you've always wanted to do for 2022. I'm Msy.Chrissy. I'm with you today, MSY.CHRISSY. We're going to go all the way until 8 o'clock this morning with a great program. We have information, of course, giving you the morning edition of the news right here, as well as updates, teasing your brain in the morning time, getting the conversation going that you can take throughout your day today. Yeah, man. I woke up on the right side of the bed. I hope you did too. But if you haven't, we are going to make sure that by the end of this program, you're feeling, you know, up to the day, up to the task, up to the hour. And we're going to start you off with the update from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs as it relates to COVID-19 in Grenada. Today is the 28th, but this update is dated the 23rd of September. 3 new confirmed cases, 2 hospitalizations, 0 new deaths, 3 new recoveries. Active cases stood at 51 as of the 23rd of September. Make sure you're doing all that you can to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and, of course, other viruses in Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique. Let's move it along to your word of the day, which is kerfuffle. Kerfuffle. Now, I'm a little kerfuffled because to me, I thought the word was always confuffle. I guess that's a word we use locally, but now we're learning the proper word, all right? It's kerfuffle, and it's spelled K-E-R-F-E. I'm sorry, let's start over. K-E-R-F-U-F-F-L-E. Kerfuffle. And kerfuffle is an informal word that means a disturbance or fuss typically caused by a dispute or conflict. Yeah, so that means we've been saying, I guess, technically the wrong word, even though it's an informal word. So let's use kerfuffle in a sentence. The reclassification of Pluto from a planet to a dwarf planet caused quite a kerfuffle among astronomy lovers. That's the word for the day, kerfuffle. I like it. Now we know what's really supposed to be said. All right, let's move it along into your thought of the day. And this one's coming out from Nelson Mandela. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead. And that's a quote coming out there from Nelson Mandela, of course, famously known as the first president of South Africa under the democratic regime, and also quite an activist. And successfully leading the resistance to South Africa's policy, with the apartheid in the 20th century. So definitely look up Nelson Mandela if you're interested in him. He was also famously incarcerated at the Robben Island prison for quite a number of years, 1964 to 1982. So that quote there, I'll just read it one more time for you. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead. Your thought for today, Wednesday, right here on Good Morning Grenada. Thank you so much for joining in with us. Of course, you can, link in on the WhatsApp. The number is 435-2041. I know someone's celebrating something special today, so let me know. I'll be happy to give you a shout out or give them a shout out. And in the meantime, let's head over to our riddle as we tease our brain cells, wake them up in the morning time. And the riddle for today is, what goes all the way around the world but stays in a corner? What goes all the way around the world but stays in a corner? Tell me the answer to the riddle. 435-2041. That's the number here on Good Morning Grenada. And you can call and tell us live. And of course, you can make some guesses on the Facebook as well. That's an option for you. So let's head over to the phone lines. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning.
Morning. Where are you calling us from?
St. George's.
St. George's in the building. Now tell us, what goes all the way around the world but stays in a corner?
I was thinking it's a stamp. I'm not sure.
Why would you say it's a stamp?
Well, a stamp on a letter, it stays on one corner. When you post it is wherever.
That's true. I know. When last you stamped something and sent it across the world?
No, never.
Never?
No.
You never used to send letters and
only
thing?
application, yeah. Well, for here. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No pen pals, nothing?
No.
Well, you're absolutely right this morning. It is a stamp. Tell us your name so we know who getting the bragging rights for today as we go about. Lisa from St. George's. Anybody you want to say hi to this morning?
My two daughters, to say hi to them, and my sisters.
All right, big up yourself, Lisa. Thank you so much for calling.
No problem.
All right. Yes, indeed. Lisa got it correct. It is a stamp. It goes all the way around the world, but stays in a corner. Clever. I like that one. And of course, I see some messages here coming in on the WhatsApp. One person guessed it right as well. A postage stamp. Somebody says the moon. The moon goes all around the world but stays in a corner? Maybe, but does the moon really stay in a corner? I don't know. That's a good question right there for us. Not sure. 19 minutes onto the hour of 7 o'clock right here. If you're celebrating, slide into the WhatsApp. Let me know what you're celebrating, and I'll be happy to give you a shout out throughout the course of the program right here. Now, I hope you're having a real healthy breakfast. I already started the process. I started with some coconut water. And funny enough, I'm not a lover of coconut water, but I have coconut water almost every day just because I know how good it is for me. And the reason I don't really like coconut water is because of the flavor. Yeah, I feel like I had to ignore the flavor and just dunk it down. But I experienced a coconut water a few days ago that actually tastes like sugar cake without the sweetness. The best coconut water I've ever had in years. So I don't know what the difference is, but I need to make sure that I get coconut water from that tree every single time, because it actually makes me want to drink coconut water even more now because the flavor was amazing. So I don't know what makes the difference, but I am now hunting for that person with that tree. But I want to make sure you're having a healthy breakfast this morning. You know, make sure you have some fruits and something that's going to power you up today. Not necessarily something packed with sugar, because that's not exactly what you want. You want a healthy start to the day so that you're carrying on well. I'm getting ready for the morning edition of news. You can catch it right here live on K105 Hot 98. And of course, we go over to the news online as well for those of you watching us and listening to us at the same time. So we're going to be right back with more. Keep it locked right here. This is Good Morning Grenada.
Would you like some tea? I've made your favorite.
Well, thank you, darling. I'm here finishing my blog post to help homeowners understand their electricity bills. You know, nobody likes paying bills. But at the very least, you should know what you're paying for.
That's true. Some people just check the balance.
Exactly. There's so much more information on your electricity bill. That is how I've been tracking our usage to make sure the changes that we made are working.
So, what do you have so far?
The left side of your bill shows the rates for electricity and the government charges. The middle portion shows the number of units you've consumed, plus the history of your usage over the last 8 months. And the right side shows how much you're being charged.
So tell me about the fuel and non-fuel charge.
When you pay your bill, you're paying one charge broken into parts. There's a fuel charge, which is the cost of fuel used to generate electricity. And there's a non-fuel charge, which is the cost of delivering electricity to your home and any other necessary services.
But darling, what about VAT?
Now this is interesting. If you use 99 units or less, there is no VAT. Above 99 units, you pay 15% VAT on the non-fuel portion of your bill.
I love this so far. But wait a minute. Have you added the environmental levy?
That's the final piece. You see, Grenada collects this levy from domestic customers on behalf of Solid Waste Management Authority. This charge is $5 or $10 depending on the number of units you use. So, add the fuel, non-fuel, VAT, and the environmental levy, and that's your electricity bill.
This is really good. I mean, it seems like a lot, but I appreciate that Grenlex shows us a breakdown so we can see the value we are getting for our money, and more importantly, where we're spending it. I really think people are going to value this information.
Grenlex, energizing our Grenada.
Total is one of the world's largest oil companies with a top quality line of lubricants. Total Lubricants has a full product line from passenger cars, motorcycle, heavy industrial equipment, mining, trucking, agriculture, and manufacturing machines and vehicles. Total Lubricants, winning championships in motorsports, including Formula One and World Rally Championships. Total Lubricants are available at all Rubis service stations, leading automotive shops, and distributed by Huggins.
The onus is on the Director of Public Prosecutions to determine what course of action will or will not be taken following the freeing of convicted murderer Alexander Clark last week. Cherry and Blackman Stephen has this report.
Former Attorney General Darshan Ramdani is suggesting that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions pursue the release of convicted murderer Alexander Clark in the Privy Council, Grenada's final court of appeal. The then 32-year-old husband, Clark led police to a shallow grave in Montmorris, St. George, where the body of his then 27-year-old wife, Nixie Downs Clark, was found in a suitcase. Clark was found guilty of non-capital murder in 2014 and sentenced to 67.5 years in prison. However, after serving 8 years in jail, he walked free last Tuesday on the order of the Court of Appeal due to the loss of transcript within the Supreme Court. Clark is believed to have already left Grenada for England. Ramdani believes that the loss of transcript is insufficient to dismiss an appeal that sets Clark free.
The absence of a summing up, the absence of transcript is no reason in Grenada law for an appeal not to be heard. And let me make this point. This appeal was not heard. The Court of Appeal did not hear this appeal, but considered that the missing transcript meant they could not hear it. I do believe that the Office of the DPP ought to consider filing an appeal in this matter. This man has not been set free from the conviction. The conviction is still standing.
During Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing, Attorney General and Minister for Legal Affairs, Claudette Joseph, said the next course of action, if any, lies with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
While there is a right of appeal in this case, there will be a right of appeal to the Privy Council. It is for the DPP to determine in his own deliberate judgment whether there is sufficient grounds, or there are sufficient grounds on which this matter may be appealed to the Privy Council. This is entirely up to the Director of Public Prosecutions.
The gruesome killing of Nixie and Downs Clark happened on the couple's 4th wedding anniversary, when Mrs. Clark allegedly found out that her husband was having an affair with their teenage babysitter. The then 17-year-old student was subsequently used by the prosecution as a key witness, and no charges were brought against her. This is an act that attorney Anselm Clouden says he still can't understand.
The first person he called was his mistress from Monkmorris, and she came down and actively participated in the removal, packaging of the body in the suitcase. They drove all around trying to find a suitable resting place. Eventually, they ended up in Monkmorris on her family's plot.
Ramdani explains the possible reasons no charge was brought against the teenage accomplice, as the prosecution team ensured there was a conviction.
The prosecution would have had, I believe, to make a decision that either to get an airtight case against him and to have an independent person speak to what he did subsequently, and that would have led to a jury not being at all uncertain as to what happened. So yes, she is to be blamed. She committed a crime of assisting a murderer dispose of a body. But the killing in this case was done by this accused person.
To the family of Nixie and Downs Clark, Minister Joseph extended an apology.
We expressed sorrow that the judicial system did not work sufficiently for you.
Cherry and Blackman Stephen, GBN News.
Well, the government of Grenada has already put some measures in place to secure and improve the judicial system in Grenada. Some of these changes come on the heels of convicted murderer Alexander Clark's release. More in this Rena Ped Thomas report.
Last Tuesday, the entire country was in an uproar with the release of Alexander Clark, a British man who murdered his wife in 2014 and was serving 67.5 years at His Majesty's prison. Clark appealed his case and was immediately released due to a missing transcript from a lost computer. This opened a can of worms on the present state of the court system in Grenada and the condition it has been operating with over the years. Government has now given the green light to Grenada's Attorney General, Claudette Joseph, to feverishly start the process of making some much-needed and significant changes to the judicial system.
We have taken steps to secure the very fragile information and documents housed at the vault of the Supreme Court Registry. Those are going to be relocated to a more suitable and conducive location. We have been mandated to secure better equipment, and we will be looking for the best available on the market, and also to train staff who can be equipped to certify, not just to produce, but to produce and certify the transcript in the shortest possible time.
The Sir Archibald Law Library will also be relocated and reopened to the public. Minister Joseph says they will also be reopening and relocating a mediation center and the court reporting unit at the Supreme Court Registry to the ground floor of the Clico building. She said the court reporting unit is an area they will be paying key attention to.
Cabinet has given the full support to the registrar and me to work to properly staff that unit and to take care of the backlog that we now have in the preparation of transcripts. And we are going to be working feverishly at this so that when next the Court of Appeal sits in Grenada, all of the matters will have the transcripts prepared.
The Minister for Labour says that they have also taken steps to enhance the physical space in which the staff operates. She outlined other improvements made in the legal system.
So we have beefed up security. We have also begun strengthening the human resource capacity of the system. We've hired some new staff and we are in the process of filling some vacancies that still exist in the judicial system. And as part of the broader government policy, we are putting systems in place to ensure that those unestablished, temporary and long-standing contract workers in the legal system are regularized.
The Attorney General was speaking at Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing. For GBN News, I am Rena Pett-Thomas reporting.
Now, relative to allegations that a computer from the Supreme Court registry that contained Alexander Clark's transcript was stolen, Attorney General and Minister for Legal Affairs Claudette Joseph confirmed on Tuesday that a computer is indeed missing.
From all indications, the computer on which the recording would have been typed also, that is what cannot be found at this time. So it seems as though there is a computer indeed that cannot be found. And that will contain the critical parts of the proceedings that could have been filled in, the gaps that could have been filled in.
The minister's statement is far in contrast to a statement made by Director of Public Prosecutions, Christopher Nelson.
I don't think the information that went out is accurate. I don't want to comment too much. There's talk about missing computer. I'm not sure that's entirely correct. I think the registrar of the court can verify what the situation is. But so far as I understand, it's not a case of missing computer.
Other news, the first witness took to the stand today as the criminal trial began in Oscar Bartholomew's murder case. Christina John continues to follow that story.
Director of Public Prosecution Christopher Nelson, KC, says the issue of missing evidence will not happen in the Oscar Bartholomew criminal trial, as did in the case of Alexander Clark.
Those issues will not arise in this matter. The records in this matter are purely paper, and they're all accounted for. So we have no issue in this case.
Criminal trial commenced Tuesday for Edward Gibson, Sean Gannis, Roddy Felix, and Wendell Sylvester, who were charged with non-capital murder in the 2011 death of Oscar Bartholomew. Witnesses began taking the stand Tuesday in what is expected to be a somewhat lengthy procedure, as there are over 25 witnesses to give evidence. DPP Nelson, KC, says the jury was empaneled on Monday, therefore they can now proceed.
The awaited trial has started. The jury was empaneled today. It's potentially a long trial. We have at least 25 witnesses listed on the indictment. So this will take a few weeks.
11 years have already elapsed since the incident with Bartholomew occurred. The DPP was probed on the impact this can have on a matter of such nature.
The passage of time always affects a case. Cases depend on witness recollection and memory, but I think that the nature of this case is such that those who witness the critical events will not easily forget. And of course, there is the opportunity to refresh one's memory from statements given way back in 2011, 2012. So there are some difficulties, but notwithstanding that, we have had trials in the past where much time has passed.
Among the 25 witnesses to take the stand are retired police officers and civilians. Christina John, GBN News.
WeatherGuard Pro. For every project, there's only one Pro.
want to be free as can be.
They say that freedom is the ability to fully experience life. The GUT Credit Union is giving you the freedom to choose. Get a loan for any purpose, whether it's consolidating your debt, buying a vehicle, owning your home, back to school, or a dream vacation. We offer competitive rates with terms and payments that fit your lifestyle. Call 440-1354. Email loans@gutcu.com or visit go.gutcu.com/freedom to start enjoying your life, your money, your way. Promotion ends September 30th, 2022. Special conditions apply. More freedom, more choices. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
We're back. Government officials says the NDC administration will not be paying any workers employed by Faith Development Organization. Rena Perry-Thomas has that story.
Faith has to pay. That's according to Grenada's Attorney General and Minister for Labour, Claudette Joseph. Minister Joseph, who was responding to a question about the 2 monthly salaries owed to workers under the Faith Development Organization, says that government is not responsible for paying those workers.
In relation to who pays the workers of Faith, Faith is responsible for paying their staff. None of the persons engaged by Faith were engaged by the government of Grenada, nor did the government of Grenada commit in any form to paying staff of Faith. So they are fully responsible for paying their staff, and they know that. And from what we've seen so far, they are more than able to do so, considering the millions they got from our treasury in a very short space of time.
Faith Development Organization was contracted by the NMP administration to manage the school's COVID-19 sanitizing. The Attorney General claims that these companies have cheated the government of lots of money. The minister explains that the contract between Faith and the government of Grenada has since been officially terminated.
We have recently communicated with the directors of that company, giving our initial position and formally ending any contractual arrangement that existed between Faith and the government of Grenada, because based on all that we've seen so far, we do not believe that government was getting value for money in relation to the alleged services provided by that company.
Minister Joseph says an extensive investigation is ongoing into the contractual agreement and several questionable business transactions made between the organization and the previous government. An exorbitant sum has been paid by the government so far to Faith, and we are not able as yet to determine the services that were provided to the people of Grenada. So the investigation is ongoing, and I guarantee you we will not leave any stones unturned, especially since it appears in this case there was some gross misallocation of the people's money. For GBN News, I am Rena Perry-Thomas reporting.
This story: when a government borrows money from foreign and domestic creditors, it is contractually obliged to pay the interest on such loans. If a payment is missed, this is described as a default. Defaults happen when governments are not able to or do not want to meet some or all of their debt payments to creditors. The International Monetary Fund describes default as a broken promise or breach of contract. Minister for Foreign Affairs Joseph Andal said this is the present situation of Grenada, as the country is listed in the international financial system as selected default for unpaid debt. Grenada is still in debt to Algeria for the construction of the island's international airport in the 1970s.
Prime Minister Mitchell and I met with the Foreign Minister of Algeria to address a long-standing debt issue going all the way back to the 1970s. And while the matter has not yet been resolved, initial steps were taken to put in place a mechanism for settling that outstanding debt. The implication for Grenada is that because that debt has not been serviced over the years for various reasons, Grenada is listed in the international financial system as being in selective default, which makes it difficult to access concessionary financing.
Minister Andel said himself and Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell had to address another debt issue with neighbor in Trinidad and Tobago.
It was a one-on-one between the Foreign Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Amory Brown, and myself, to address another outstanding debt issue. It's a debt totaling in the region of $80 million EC dollars, contracted in 2005 following Ivan and in 2013. So we have already begun the process of addressing that issue.
I'm a winner, you are winner, we are winners, winners.
Be an instant winner today with the NLA by simply purchasing your Daily Pick 3 and Playway tickets at your nearest agent or NLA outlet. As a proud sponsor of the CPL cricket coverage, the NLA continues to support the development of sports, culture, and nation building in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. The NLA, making your dreams a reality.
I'm a winner, you are winner, we are winners, winners, winners.
My granddaughter.
Yes, indeed, taking you to higher heights. That's Boise there, taking us through in the morning time. 6 minutes after 7 o'clock. Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. You are live here with me, Msy.Chrissy, and of course, we are here on GBN TV, radio, and social media. Special good morning to you. It's the middle of the week. Another opportunity for you to get some things done. Yeah, don't let laziness step in. You know, find that energy to keep going. Special birthday greetings going out to Mrs. Marcia Jones from Concord, and also Miss Lulin Ned at Grand Roy. Happy birthday. And also we have birthday greetings going out to Fitz Thomas, who is celebrating his birthday today. Greetings coming from his child, and he or she is saying, I trust that he would have an awesome day with us today. So happy birthday to you, and I hope you're having a great one. Also, special greetings going out to Tamika Alexander of Balthazar. Greetings coming from her mother Tara and her father Jerry, as well as Tamisha Nicholas of Mount Alexander St. Patrick, coming from her children and neighbor, as well as godson Jaden. Happy birthday to Kayla Cadet of Paradise, student of St. Andrew RC School, and those greetings are coming from her mother Cheryl. And Claudia King of Toronto, Canada, greetings coming from Anna Neckles, who's her sister and family. Happy birthday to all of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day today. Today's a great day to have a birthday, right? It's the 28th of September, which actually is also the International Day for Universal Access to Information, and that's a designation under the United Nations. In fact, UNESCO, which is the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, declared it as the International Day for Universal Access to Information a few years ago, and the UN General Assembly adopted it in 2019. So that is an observation for today. Yes, indeed. And the whole idea is providing a platform and a frame for all stakeholders to participate in the international discussions on policy and guidelines in the area of access to information. Of course, you know, in 2022, we are definitely in the information era, right? We have information in the palm of our fingertips everywhere we go. And we just have to remember that also, you know, not every single person has access to that information, and information that is needed for, you know, peace, and also accessible to people who are disabled, marginalized, and those sorts of things, to make sure that we have literacy across the board. So yeah, today is the Universal Access to Information Day, designated by the United Nations. Yes, indeed, we're rolling along, and we're going to dive into some conversation, reminding you that the number right here is 435-2041. You can call in live as we jump into some conversation. And I tell you, it is trending right now. We can't get away from it. Yes, the computer gate. Indeed, we are definitely having that conversation. We'll start you off with that today. And the government of Grenada, well, we did get a response in relation to what's taking place from the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Minister Claudette Joseph. She commented on this issue within the post-cabinet briefing, which took place Tuesday this week. And we did hear comments from her, as well as the DPP responding there. I gave you just a quick tidbit in the morning edition of news. You know, where the Attorney General and Minister for Legal Affairs, Claudette Joseph, is saying that a computer is missing, and where we're seeing that the Director of Public Prosecutions, Christopher Nelson, is saying something in contrast to that, contrary to that statement.
Last Tuesday, the entire country was in an uproar with the release of Alexander Clark, a British man who murdered his wife in 2014 and was serving 67.5 years at His Majesty's prison. Clark appealed his case and was immediately released due to a missing transcript from a lost computer. This opened a can of worms on the present state of the court system in Grenada and the condition it has been operating with over the years. Government has now given the green light to Grenada's Attorney General, Claudette Joseph, to feverishly start the process of making some much-needed and significant changes to the judicial system.
We have taken steps to secure the very fragile information and documents housed at the vault of the Supreme Court Registry. Those are going to be relocated to a more suitable and conducive location. We have been mandated to secure better equipment, and we will be looking for the best available on the market, and also to train staff who can be equipped to certify, not just to produce, but to produce and certify the transcript in the shortest possible time.
The Sir Archibald Law Library will also be relocated and reopened to the public. Minister Joseph says they will also be reopening and relocating a mediation center and the court reporting unit at the Supreme Court Registry to the ground floor of the CLICO building. She said the court reporting unit is an area they will be paying key attention to.
Cabinet has given the full support to the registrar and me to work to properly staff that unit and to take care of the backlog that we now have in the preparation of transcripts. And we are going to be working feverishly at this so that when next the Court of Appeal sits in Grenada, all of the matters will have the transcripts prepared.
The Minister for Labour says that they have also taken steps to enhance the physical space in which the staff operates. She outlined other improvements made in the legal system.
So we have beefed up security. We have also begun strengthening the human resource capacity of the system. We've hired some new staff and we are in the process of filling some vacancies that still exist in the judicial system. And as part of the broader government policy, we are putting systems in place to ensure that those unestablished, temporary and long-standing contract workers in the legal system are regularized.
The Attorney General was speaking at Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear-Thomas reporting.
You have a little update as it relates to, steps that are being taken. And we also have a quick note, a quick voice, a quick audio clip also speaking about this issue. So let's hear from Claudette Joseph now, Attorney General, with this clip.
From all indications, the computer on which the recording would have been typed also, that is what cannot be found at this time. So it seems as though there is a computer indeed that cannot be found. And that will contain the critical parts of the proceedings that could have been filled in, the gaps that could have been filled in.
And here we have a clip from the Director of Public Prosecutions, Christopher Nelson.
I don't think the information that went out is accurate. I don't want to comment too much. There's talk about missing computer. I'm not sure that's entirely correct. I think the registrar of the court can verify what the situation is. But so far as I understand, it's not a case of missing computer.
There we have it. Quite an interesting one, different. We're getting differing views still. So it seems like we still need to involve some other people. We do have a caller on the line. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, Miss Washington. Hello?
Yes, good morning, you're live. You can go ahead.
I wish you all could stop misinforming the public. You have just said in the news, and also I heard it from the reporter, that when Clark appealed his sentence, he was immediately released. And I repeat, you said immediately released. That is not true. The man spent 8 years in prison. The only one is the appeal case came up for hearing. Then they found out that this evidence was missing. So it's not true to say that the man was immediately released. He spent 8 years in prison. Because sometimes somebody spend the entire, after you appeal the case, you might spend your entire years in prison before your appeal come up. But this is not true to say that the man was immediately released after he appealed the case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for calling. Yes, indeed. You can call and weigh in 435-2041. That's the number right here on Good Morning Grenada. We have another call coming through. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, Miss Lashington. Greetings. I knew from the first time I heard a particular lawyer enter this discussion on what happened and what did not happen, that there was something, as we say in Grenada, something in the mortar beside the pestle. I was always waiting to hear the government's official statement on this issue, and there it is. People have to understand that lawyers seek their own interests, and therefore they push their own narratives. But the official thing is something else. There is something extraordinary. Something is going on within that system, but we know it. That the previous administrations over many, many years had brought the judiciary, a third arm of the state, down to disrepute because they have abandoned them. They refuse to service the needs, place for people to work, record keeping, etc., etc. I laud and applaud the new government's effort, on trying to begin at least to correct this problem, which should also take some time and expense. But I do laud and applaud them on it. And in future, brothers and sisters, beware with lawyers. Because you see, and I'll end by saying this, in this here country, we have reached to a stage of shameless, I say, institutionalized hypocrisy. And that we have to end. Shameless institutionalized hypocrisy. And I'll end by saying this time. So Walter Scott in 1802, an Englander, yes, an Englander, but he wrote a poem of major significance through the history of this world. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive, ... Dwell on that a bit, think of it. And let's see if we can correct this here nation into a decent future based on trustworthiness. Thank you very much and have a nice day, will you?
Thanks for calling. And, another part of this story, we're seeing that someone is saying take it to the Privy Council in terms of, the onus is now on the Director of Public Prosecutions to determine what course of action will or will not be taken following the freeing of convicted murderer Alexander Clark last week. And that's another arm to this entire story. So let's hear a little bit more from our newsroom as it relates to possibly taking it to the Privy Council. In the meantime, I'm just going to go to the phone lines. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, Msy.Chrissy and Mr. Smooth, if he's there. I think it's unfortunate that we have to engage in the kind of conversation we have because there's something that we don't know for sure. I listened to the clip from the DDP, who I have a lot of respect for, and also the current Attorney General. And if you listen to them, the Attorney General said, from all indications, and I don't remember the word that the DDP said, but I think these are instructive in terms of from their point of view, from there what the information they have got, that's where they could speak from. And I hate to want to accuse anyone in the system of colluding, because so many things have gone wrong over the years, and we are responding to a situation that should not have happened. What I would say is that we should use this opportunity to accept that we have almost abandoned the the judicial system over the years in the pursuit of economic growth and whatever you want to call it, GDP stuff and all this nonsense, without looking after those most important aspects of our lives.
Indeed.
And the population has to take some responsibility for that, because only when something affects us, we tend to get affected. We need to be fully engaged in all aspects of life in this country. And finally, what we can do now, maybe we might need even an inquiry to find out the real truth of this thing, but we should go forward, not dwelling on the incident that happened, but trying to make sure that those things are minimized and it doesn't happen again. Learn the lesson from this, and learn to also institute the whole issue of accountability.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks for calling. Yes, indeed. Quite a lot of information there. Thank you so much for your contributions. And we're going to take a quick break and get back to you. But of course, I want to touch in with the Republic Bank customers of Republic House, Melville Street, Grenville, Guave, Sates, and Carriacou branches. Your new Republic Bank International debit card is ready for collection. You can collect them upstairs, the Grand Dance branch, Steeles Complex, opening hours Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. At the Grenville branch, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And from October 3rd, next week, Monday, you can collect at the Carriacou branch, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. After November 1st, 2022, you'll be unable to use your current ATM One card. So be sure to collect your new card before then. Visit republicgrenada.com for details. Republic Bank thanks all customers for your cooperation during this time.
Solar lights are back in stock and will be available for purchase at Southern Electrical. Here is a list of the solar lights that we offer. 200 to 300 watt intelligent floodlights with camera, 300 to 500 watt solar street lights, 60, 100, 200 and 500 RGB solar floodlights, 100, 200, 300, 500 and 800 solar floodlights, solar garden lights, 25, 40, 60, 100 and 200 watt solar floodlights, 3, 7 and 10 watt solar wall lights, motion center garden lights, motion sensor floodlights, 30, 60 and 90 watt solar street lights with accessories, 5 watt solar wall lamps, 40 and 60 solar street lights, and 100 and 300 solar floodlights with battery power display. Now available at Southern Electrical, Dusty Highway, St. George. Visit our showroom today.
Ultratech gasoline and diesel, available only at Rubis stations.
Affordable quality products delivered to you via Superb Service. We are Superb Distributors, wholesalers and authorized agents for trusted products you know and love, like Rika Juices, Pure Heaven products, Bibin diapers, New Bright laundry detergent, Allegra pasta, and more.
Contact Superb Distributors at 435-2948 for superb quality and service.
COVID-19 spreads from person to person through the droplets that are produced when someone coughs or sneezes, which makes it easy to spread between people in close contact. Now let's get prepared to stay healthy. To reduce your chance of catching or spreading COVID-19, practice these simple everyday preventative measures. Droplets can also land on surfaces, so ensure that you wash your hands frequently for a minimum of 20 seconds or sing the happy birthday song twice. Avoid touching your face, especially your eyes, nose, and mouth. If soap and water are not readily available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with an alcohol content between 60 and 90%. 70% is ideal. When you cough or sneeze, cover your nose and mouth with a flexed elbow or a tissue. Dispose of the tissue immediately and then wash your hands. If you notice someone has a fever and cough or other symptoms of respiratory illness, avoid close contact when possible. Let's all do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy.
27 minutes after 7 o'clock. Well, it just turned 28 while I was telling you that. 28 minutes after 7. I hope you're on your way. You're early. You're on time. I'm proud of you if you're early on your on time this morning. That's the voice of Akeem in the background there. Such an amazing singer right here from Grenada, living and performing right here, and even traveling sometimes. Pick up yourself, Akeem. And of course, we are also keeping our eyes and on Hurricane Ian, because our hearts definitely go out to the people of Cuba. It's heading to Florida right now. It's just become a Category 4 storm, and it's expected to hit the Tampa Bay region, which is actually one of the most vulnerable places in the United States as it relates to flooding. So they are bracing themselves for storm surges, catastrophic winds, and of course flooding, as I just mentioned, because it's intensified. The winds have definitely intensified. So as of 5 a.m. Local time in Florida, which is same time for us right now, I believe, Hurricane Ian was about 75 miles off the coast of Florida. And that's when the National Hurricane Center announced that it had become a Category 4 storm. And it has Air Force hurricane hunters there who reported it. So it's looking like it's going to be extremely dangerous. It's predicted to pack winds of up to 240 kilometers per hour, which is equivalent to 143 miles per hour. And the tornadoes have already been seen in southern Florida. And the National Weather Service said as Ian approaches the coast, the tropical wind force winds were reaching the coast of southeast and southwest Florida, 3 o'clock local time. So we are hoping that everyone out there really prepared for this storm, this hurricane that is touching down, and we're definitely with you. And hopefully, we don't have a disaster on our hands, because we are, you're going to be prepared as much as possible. And for us here in Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique, listen, we also have to be prepared. We are still in the hurricane season, all right? So make sure that, you do all that you can. I know St. Vincent as well. They're under threat for serious flooding all the way into noon today. So make sure you're doing all that you can to prepare for, these hazards that we face here in the Caribbean, as we are still in the hurricane season for another 2 months, all right? And we do have other hazards that we're under threat for here in Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, you're live.
Morning, Miss Bishi. How are you today?
I'm doing well. What about you, sir?
All right, for now. Well, that case that we're talking about there, I think the young lady, she have family, parents, and I think a child is involved. But somehow in society, especially in Grenada, according to who is you cannot lie, or where you work and you cannot lie. And remember, in this case, the person was only buried in Montmartre, but was transported by vehicle from the furthest part south of Grenada. That's where the person was killed, the furthest part south of Grenada, and transported by vehicle to that wherever they buried her. So it's a serious thing, and people have to take a lot of things in consideration. A young child involved, family involved, and all those who's trying to, according to who's you and where you work in your line, and everybody trying to shoot. Do the right things. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. And keeping it along the lines of the legal system, we are seeing that the Oscar Bartholomew case is back on. And we have an update for you there. The first witness took the stand, and as the criminal trial began in the Oscar Bartholomew case. And just to jog your memory, this is a case that took place, well, the incident took place back in December 2011, where Oscar Bartholomew and his now widow and a friend were driving in the direction of Satés in the parish of St. Patrick to visit a family who resided there. And around 3 p.m., they stopped at the St. David police station so that his wife and the friend could make use of the restroom facilities. Now, while awaiting the return of his wife, Oscar Bartholomew began a discussion with people at the police station, and during this time he embraced a female officer who he thought was a friend of his. And after that, a commotion ensued and he was subsequently violently detained, and now we have the first, second, third, and fifth named defendants thereafter proceeded to issue several blows to Oscar Bartholomew that eventually rendered him unconscious.
Director of Public Prosecution Christopher Nelson, KC, says the issue of missing evidence will not happen in the Oscar Bartholomew criminal trial, as did in the case of Alexander Clark.
Those issues will not arise in this matter. The records in this matter are purely paper, and they're all accounted for. So we have no issue in this case.
Criminal trial commenced Tuesday for Edward Gibson, Sean Gannis, Roddy Felix, and Wendell Sylvester, who were charged with non-capital murder in the 2011 death of Oscar Bartholomew. Witnesses began taking the stand Tuesday in what is expected to be a somewhat lengthy procedure, as there are over 25 witnesses to give evidence. DPP Nelson, KC, says the jury was empaneled on Monday, therefore they can now proceed.
The awaited trial has started. The jury was empaneled today. It's potentially a long trial. We have at least 25 witnesses listed on the indictment. So this will take a few weeks.
11 years have already elapsed since the incident with Bartholomew occurred. The DPP was probed on the impact this can have on a matter of such nature.
The passage of time always affects a case. Cases depend on witness recollection and memory. But I think that the nature of this case is such that those who witness the critical events will not easily forget. And of course, there is the opportunity to refresh one's memory from statements given way back in 2011, 2012. So there are some difficulties, but notwithstanding that, we have had trials in the past where much time has passed.
Among the 25 witnesses to take the stand are retired police officers and civilians. Christelina John, GBN News.
And there you have it. Witnesses took the stand, and that case is on. We have a call on the line. Can you turn?
Yeah, good morning, Chrissy.
Yes, good morning. Can you turn down your device? We're getting a lot of feedback on our end.
Actually, I turn it off.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, something crossed in my mind. If someone is convicted by a jury for a crime, a criminal offense, or like a murder, they had no proof, but they convicted the person based on evidence, and they give them a certain amount of years in jail, let's say 10 years in jail. And at the same time, let's say there's someone who committed a murder and admitted that they committed that murder. Is there, and they give them, let's say, the same 10 years in jail, is there a specific time that this person has to serve in jail before they could appeal? Now, one didn't admit, but one admitted. So is there they have the same time span that they could appeal the case, or do they have to do a certain amount of time before they appeal? Because they just don't see somebody committed a crime and admitted, and they're being given 67 years in jail, and in 8 years they've been set free because of the missing file or missing evidence or whatever had to be because they appealed. Now, there could be something fishy about it, because the point is the person in question, did the time come up for appeal or was there no time at all?
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm looking at it from that perspective, that is this gentleman done enough time in prison so he could appeal the case, although he admitted. That was one of the questions I had in mind, and unfortunately, that is a little mind-boggling in terms of, did he serve a certain amount of time that was allocated to him?
Okay.
Secondly, something I would like to ask is that when you commit a crime of that nature, let's say you might be a Grenadian or whatever, did the Criminal Investigation Department in Grenada notify the Scotland Yard in the United Kingdom of this gentleman's case and what had happened in Grenada before he left Grenada? This is something that I think should be answered, because he could go up to the United Kingdom and commit a crime and they know nothing about it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling. And one comment on Facebook is saying, Unette is saying, why so long? 11 years? Insane. Yes, indeed. Another caller on the line here. Good morning. You're live.
Yes. Good morning. I just want to ask a little question. Are we sure that the gentleman appealed? Because what Mr. Clouden is saying is that he needed the documents to dissect the summation of the case to see if there is anything there that they can find to file an appeal. That is different to an appeal was filed, yes? All right.
Thank you so much. All great questions. All right. Now, following up to this case, of course, we just mentioned here, a caller's, one of the commenters on Facebook said 11 years. So let's hear what the public has to say as it relates to this case with Grenadian-born Canadian citizen Oscar Bartholomew that took place back in 2011 with the case going on right now. So let's hear what we had to say, Grenadians had to say in the social buzz as it relates to this case. And we'll head over to the phone lines in the meantime. Good morning, you're live.
Yes, dear. I just have a question that's bothering me. I don't expect you to answer, but I wish somebody could answer that question for me. Now, you have a person who commits a crime, admit to the crime, take the lawman to the scene of the disposal and everything like that. That person confessed to that crime. They are tried and sentenced, serving the time. What if the person admit to committing the crime? The sentence is because of what you did. What is the ground for appeal? This is what they puzzle me. What is the ground for appealing a crime that you confess to? You admit you did it. You brought them there. You showed them where you transported the thing from where to where. All these things came out. So what is the ground? What was the ground for the appeal? Or was the appeal a convenient way of doing something in the law? Was it a planned thing? It's puzzling me. I need somebody to give me some answers to that. Thank you.
Thanks for calling. Yes, and let's go over to Social Buzz to hear, the feedback on the ground as it relates to this case continuing.
We present the news. You analyze the various topics and distill the issues as they unfold. Your distillation points matter as we're about to highlight them in our Social Buzz report.
GBN Social Buzz is reaching beyond the local platform to share with you what's trending on social. A jury panel was selected on Monday, which marks the start of the criminal trial of the 5 police officers charged with the death of Oscar Bartholomew. The trial began at the High Court located at the National Stadium.
25 witnesses are expected to present their testimonies, with the first taking the stand on Tuesday. Back in June 2021, $1 million EC was awarded in damages to the family of Grenadian-born Canadian citizen Oscar Bartholomew.
Social media users took to the comments section to share their thoughts about this latest development. The following views are that of the public and not of the Grenada Broadcasting Network. Burnett said, I wonder if the witnesses remember the story. It's been so long. Chris added, 11 years and his family still ain't got justice. What a shame. This person said, I guess that the Canadians are not going to give up so easy. And the sad thing is, the officer was not in uniform. Abby said, water came from my eyes when I heard they beat him so bad he went into a coma. Oh my God, why? It really hurts bad after all these years. We are all Grenadians. Now you are in prison. I know you all regret it. Just hope nothing goes missing though. I felt it for the 5, but it's not easy to lose someone like that. Chanel said, Oscar's mom passed away heartbroken. So sad, our justice system is so slow. It's a shame. Kester added, the justice system failed humanity when only special people are allowed with privilege of wickedness. Ronnie Beth simply said, this system is a big failure. Crystal added, real mama guyism with this case. I hope that nothing from the trial has allegedly gone missing. This would be a shame to corruption. Sally said, I can't believe that this was still going ahead. I thought it was swept under the table. I hope justice will prevail. Hope that the computer that has the information is not stolen. She added, this case is now starting. Wow, that was extremely long. Hopefully, justice will be served. That's what's buzzing tonight. We encourage you, our viewers and listeners, to submit your think pieces on trending topics locally, regionally, and internationally via our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Continue to share your thoughts and concerns with us on our social media platforms.
There you have it. That was part of our social buzz segment on the situation. We have a caller to tell us their live comments on it. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, Missy. Are you getting a feedback from me?
No, you're clear and no feedback. Okay. Thank you.
Well, the answer to Ms. Jeremiah's question is that go to God and keep away from all those criminals. Because when they create the crime, the Lord does let them go, right? You're more safe in a hurricane more than those criminals, because right now my sister is in Florida and I ain't get a chance to call she yet to know how she is. So she more safe more than them criminals. So back to you in St. George's.
Thank you so much for calling. And we're going to take a quick break and give you some more updates as you get through your day. We're just going to take one more caller on this topic here. You're live on Good Morning Grenada.
Morning again, Missy. In response to Ms. Jeremiah, she wants somebody to answer a question. But I think it's instructive what former Attorney General Dashan Vandani said in response to a question on Beyond the Atlantic Night in relation to that. He said it in a low tone, that he felt that the sentence was excessive. I hope I'm not using the wrong word. Because I think the idea was like, okay, the guy is good. The guy pleads guilty, yes. But there are some rules in the law, in the rules of sentences and so on. And there were reference to the 17 and so on, why there was had to be resentencing and so on. So if we say we believe in law, as a former New York attorney said, law cannot be superseded by emotions. We have to go according to law. It's unfortunate. I have had people who were killed. I have had people who were knocked down on the road. Nothing came out of it. Over time, you get over that. One has to live. One thing that we have to either decide that we live in by lawfully, or we live in by the law of the jungle. And people were trying to understand a little more. And the question, what one of your former worker on GBN called in and said, I thought was very instructive, where it's not that an appeal was filed, but there was nothing about an appeal, but the fact that the lawyer wanted to find avenues that they could have dealt with the appeal.
Okay.
I don't know. People, we need to become more sensible and much more. I don't know. Sometimes I feel a little bit discouraged by the level of. I don't want to say intelligence, but maybe conversation that we have. The triviality that we get ourselves locked into. Let's see if we can learn and get a little more. I don't know.
Thank you so much. All right. Yes, we are here having that conversation. We're going to take a quick break and come right back. This is Good Morning Grenada. Msy.Chrissy in your company.
As GBN brings you coverage of this year's Hero CPL, there will be some adjustments to our programming lineup. On Tuesday 27th, Wednesday 28th, and Friday 30th September 2022, transitions will be at 5:05 p.m. GBN TV News will be at 6 p.m. and repeated right after the CPL match. Transitions will be rebroadcast after the GBN News repeat. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere with sports coverage.
This could be out. Brilliant catch. What a stunning catch.
The biggest party in sports, the Caribbean Premier League, is back and live on GBN television. Capture the energy, excitement, and euphoria of the beloved game. 34 matches, 6 teams, only one to be crowned champion. The action starts August 31st and runs until September 30th. Live on GBN television at K105.5 and 105.9. It's no carnival, but you will enjoy the mass.
And you're kidding me! You are kidding me!
GBN's broadcast of the Hero CPL is made possible by Republic Bank, we're the one for you. Habats, National Lotteries Authority, Demerara Mutual Life, Grenlec, Kenish Trucking, Webisco and Bermudas, Consumers Guarantee Insurance, and Had-On Plus.
No, that's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrian crosswalks on the road. No one really showed me how to use them properly.
Well, this is how it's done. You never cross before doing these things. They might save your life. First, when you get to the crosswalk, you stop. You look left, you look right. If there's a vehicle coming, you put your hand out, making eye contact with the driver, indicating that you want to cross. And only when the vehicle comes to a complete stop, you quickly cross to the other side.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact. Wait for pedestrian to cross to the other side, then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
You know, one day I woke up and, you know, they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. You know, nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the side getting ready to cross. If there is, you stop on the line that is a certain distance before the crosswalk. Then you would see the pedestrian put their hands out, looking directly at you, indicating that they are going to cross. And only when you have come to a complete stop, that is when they will quickly and safely cross to the other side. And then you continue happily on your journey.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact, wait for pedestrian to cross. Then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
As GBN brings you coverage of this year's Hero CPL, there will be some adjustments to our programming lineup. On Tuesday 27th, Wednesday 28th, and Friday 30th September 2022, transitions will be at 5:05 p.m. GBN TV News will be at 6 p.m. and repeated right after the CPL match. Transitions will be rebroadcast after the GBN News repeat. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere with sports coverage.
According to where you are, that ID is red, green, and yellow, in case you didn't know. That's what he's talking about there. 6 minutes on to 8 o'clock. We're almost there to wrap up this show for today, but we have one more topic to share with you, and hopefully your Wednesday is already going good. All right? So we are here, and we have some points here as it relates to the faith development organizations. Government officials say that the NDC administration will not be paying workers employed by faith development organization. So let's get a little bit more from the newsroom as it relates to this story.
And Minister for Labour, Claudette Joseph. Minister Joseph, who was responding to a question about the 2 monthly salaries owed to workers under the Faith Development Organization, says that government is not responsible for paying those workers.
In relation to who pays the workers of faith, faith is responsible for paying their staff. None of the persons engaged by faith were engaged by the government of Grenada, nor did the government of Grenada commit in any form to paying staff of faith. So they are fully responsible for paying their staff, and they know that. And from what we've seen so far, they are more than able to do so, considering the millions they got from our treasury in a very short space of time.
Faith Development Organization was contracted by the NMP administration to manage the school's COVID-19 sanitizing. The Attorney General claims that these companies have cheated the government of lots of money. The minister explains that the contract between Faith and the government of Grenada has since been officially terminated.
We have recently communicated with the directors of that company, giving our initial position and formally ending any contractual arrangement that existed between Faith and the government of Grenada, because based on all that we've seen so far, we do not believe that government was getting value for money in relation to the alleged services provided by that company.
Minister Joseph says an extensive investigation is ongoing into the contractual agreement and several questionable business transactions made between the organization and the previous government.
The sum, an exorbitant sum, has been paid by the government so far to Faith, and we are not able as yet to determine the services that were provided to the people of Grenada. So the investigation is ongoing, and I guarantee you we will not leave any stones unturned, especially since it appears in this case there was some gross misallocation of the people's money.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pat Thomas reporting.
And there we have it as it relates to the Faith Development Organization. Just keeping you updated. Thank you so much to all of you who weighed in on the conversation here. I'm just going to check in with some of your comments. And this was in relation to a story earlier. Someone said, "Good morning. I cannot overstand these security are so diligent in seeing their bosses who are us taxers dress code, but cannot properly secure the highly most important things like transcript. Laughable. The world keeps laughing at us on small matters to get right." Another person is saying, "Is it by law that an appeal can be made after 8 years of sentencing?" And that's a question there. And of course, we have loads of comments coming in on the Facebook page. You can also check it out. It's GBN TV Grenada on Facebook, GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network, and you're able to weigh in on the conversation there and keep it going throughout the course of the day. And it's been good locking it in with you, and it's Wednesday the 28th of September. It is, as mentioned earlier, the International Day for Universal Access to Information. Yes, and that is a designation by the United Nations. So it's happening worldwide, not just in Grenada, right? And this is where we lock it off for today. Of course, I'm with you on K105.5 FM until 9 o'clock. For those of you here, and if you would like to check in for To The Point, that's taking place at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock right here with GT. He's coming on later on. It's going to be live on TV and Facebook, YouTube as well. For those of you coming to my Zumba class later, I can't wait to see you. We're going to have a fabulous time at the Youth Center, 6 p.m., dancing and really just, taking all the stress away, having a good time and keeping fit. The most important thing, staying healthy in these times. Have a great Wednesday. Toodles.